Alright everyone, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case. Over on Rumble, of course. Unpause and repause. It is exceptionally hot and humid today. And it just rained, raising the humidity even further. It's like you get all the detriments of being in a jungle without actually being in a jungle with like cool flowers and shit. It's a big problem. The Great Awakening. Tarl, put the AC on. Yeah, the problem is if I put an AC on, it's going to bleed over into the audio. I need a different setup. I definitely need central air or something like that. It's a big problem. It's been a problem for a very long time. Don't make me start quoting the respected gentleman prank calls, by the way. In fact, I'm sitting here abusing drugs. I've had this problem for a long time. Very good soundboard, by the way. One of the most famous. We're going to be talking about various news today. Everything you need to prepare for wildfires, earthquakes, hurricanes, and tornadoes, according to experts. Ignore the experts, by the way. It's not a good idea. One of the main things that you need is a gun and ammunition well stored so that you can take the things that you need, should you need to do so. This would be the case for a nuclear war. Can AI feel guilt? Artificial intelligence that feels guilt could lead to more cooperation. That's a great idea. Let's move forward into creating an artificial life form that can be switched off at a moment's notice. That's a little bit too close to playing God for me, honestly. Just saying. We've got the Cincinnati attack. Arrests made over Cincinnati couple attack. 3 of the 5 individuals have been arrested. We're going to play a game of Guess the Race. Yes, indeed. Since you didn't hear about this in the legacy media, nor by the way did I, what race were the perpetrators and what race were the people that were attacked? I wonder. We're going to play a little bit of a game with that. Senator Booker, the problem with Democrats in America right now is we're willing to be complicit to Donald Trump. Yeah, the Democratic Party's problem is that it's actually willing to negotiate on occasion. That's really your problem. I thought this was so funny. When I saw this headline, and this is a piece, he's penned by Booker himself, actually, but posted by Schwartz. I looked at this and I was like, come on, dude. Your autopsy of your party has gone terribly, terribly wrong. You don't seem to be reading the room. This has been a repeat facet over the last few months, by the way. Zuckerberg wants to give everyone their own personal superintelligence through Meta's new Vision. Meta CEO says Vision differs from industry focus on automating work. Yeah, the idea is to branch out more into the creativity angle. Now, in one sense, I actually agree with this. Making things like music, poetry, art, and so forth, using AI programs in part, and obviously cyborg technology, because Zuckerberg is, he's not even quite human, quite literally. I actually believe that that's a good idea. I, for one, would love to use AI to generate music. I know that Sona app that was forwarded to me the other day. I haven't toyed around with it yet, but I'm going to. And through prompts, it can generate music, I guess. So I'm going to have to use that later. In fact, I'm going to bring it up in a moment. I am waiting, by the way, on a fairly important phone call. So I'm going to keep my phone out here. If that happens, I'm going to have to mute my audio and have to take it. Just warning people ahead of time, in case that it comes through. I don't know what the fuck is going on with Orleans Parish. It's Greek to me. Well, it's beyond Greek. It's more like it's a Kazakh to me. Trump is causing generational damage to American diplomacy. We're going to be investigating that further, trust me. Because it's bullshit. Englantine's invisible beard. If ninjas don't stop attacking, Ghost might show up. Well, fuck. I wish Ghost would show up here and give an impromptu concert. That dude's really talented. Cooking Inferno. Don't know if you caught it, but Ozzy's funeral was beautiful with tones of New Orleans as well with a jazz band. Yeah, my British friend actually was completely unimpressed by it. Here's what I would have done if I was Ozzy. I would have had an open casket, right? Unembalmed. My bloated body is just fucking sitting there. And anyone that wants their inheritance, they have to kiss my dead hand. And there would be strippers carrying the coffin, and the strippers would be firing off fireworks into the crowd the entire time. And all the other rockers in attendance, they would be told, if you want to attend, you've got one job. The casket lid is going to be carried separately. You have to chop up some coke on the casket lid and draw your lines, and then you have to snort them off the casket lid. And it would be hilarious, actually. That's what I want at my funeral. I want to be carried by strippers and have people use drugs. G.G. Allen had kind of this sort of funeral, by the way. All of his bandmates and friends were in attendance, and apparently they started stuffing drugs and shit into his mouth. And, he was, like, covered in shit and stuff like that. He was buried much as he was alive and had a great time. Ingutine's Invisible Beard, the ghost that starts with a K and ends with a K. Oh, you mean the Ku Klux Klan. Yeah, no, I know. This latest Cincinnati attack, it totally involved the KKK, which barely exists anymore, but yeah. Sheck Rumbler, what song would you like to be played at your funeral, Styx? I've got a number of songs queued up here, actually, for what could be my lost video. Let's see, which one would I want to be played? As Lights Fall by Alan Parsons. Spike, during a WNBA game, a fan threw a dildo onto the court. Thankfully, it missed the net. That would have ended the league. That would be funny as fuck. Now, Mike the Wop, that's not what I'm saying. No, the obvious is obvious in this particular Cincinnati case. We'll get to it. Codus Crow, Love My Way. Yeah, I would like that to be played at my funeral too. That was my favorite song for a very long time. Heard it first on Vice City, GTA Vice City, and I've covered the song twice, and there's a reason for that. My new favorite song is Little Dark Age by MGMT, but I'm not exactly sure that that would be fitting for the kind of funeral that I would have in mind, honestly. Yeah, Mike the Wop. No, I wasn't implicating the KKK. It was a bunch of black dudes that mugged a white couple in Cincinnati. This was days ago. And they've made 3 arrests. There are 2 people, I believe, still at large, supposedly. We'll see what happens with that. But, yeah. Damn, I just gave away the guessing game. Well, that sucks. I guess we can't play the racial guessing game. I wonder why the legacy media didn't talk about it more. Yeah, we'll ask ourselves a rhetorical question. Cooking Inferno. My memorial, don't want a funeral, is to have my ashes, my tartan, and my Masonic apron thrown into the Victoria Harbor in Hong Kong, while a piper plays Highland Cathedral. I want to go home. That sounds pretty cool. Spacco, I want a New Orleans style parade, also strippers. Yeah, I would want something ostentatious and bizarre, and just, my dead body can get attention, I suppose. It would just be for entertainment purposes, because that's the sort of thing where you're already dead. You're in hell. So it doesn't really matter what happens to your body. Doesn't matter if people defile it. It's just a fucking piece of flesh, basically. It's rotting. It's a corpse. It doesn't matter anymore. So I figure give people some pleasure, some happiness, a fucking fun moment, as you die. It's sort of giving a gift back to the world, I suppose. You could have you could have a game of horseshoes with your coffin, and you give people in the crowd, plastic horseshoes, and they have to try to toss in the coffin. They get a piece of candy or something. Kids can get involved and stuff. And it lightens the sense of death for them. Deep psychology, actually, when you think about it. It's like, who cares? I'm dead. I can't feel anything. Oh, you tossed a horseshoe onto my dead erect cock? Well, yeah, I mean, you get 100 points. B-list history. Sticks, you don't get it. Jeremy said he wants to paint a fake tunnel on a brick wall and put a jar of Bovrite at the end so you can charge into it full speed. I'm super serial. That would be funny as hell. I probably would charge into it, by the way. Spike, damn. Bovrite was mentioned, by the way. Had the color down as Melanie Mack's favorite color. I don't know what that refers to. Fucking Bovrite. Fucking delicious. Anton, you madman. The Vegemite's good too. The Marmite, I'm not as much of a fan of. Yeah, CP simple. Sticks would go down the tunnel and Jeremy would run after him and hit the wall. I love the Jeremy memes. I love the trolls. This is my forte. This is the sort of thing that I used to do back before I thought that I had to take myself seriously. I then quickly realized that I'm not capable of taking life seriously, cannot change the way that I am insane, and I prefer to be that way. Mystery purpose. At my funeral, I want sympathy for the devil played on accordion. That sounds good. Mike the Womp. When I pass, I want to be thrown into the forest and let nature take me all back. Oh, now Anton is here too. By the way, I agree with that. I want to rot into the trees as well. Give him my atoms. Since Anton is here. We cannot avoid it, nor would I want to. Wonder what would happen if you had like a toast sandwich, but you had Bovrite, Vegemite, and Marmite on it. Like, what if you spread all three? I mean, for some reason, it tastes ultra salty, even though there's no salt in it, really. Huh. King of Biltong, our first building arrived today. Next one tomorrow. Jesus. It looks like Anton is building an empire. Joe, the channel is crashing and burning, so the fuck it attitude makes sense. The fuck it attitude is my forte. You should look back at the older videos. You'll find I do not give a fuck. I care about mankind. I care about trying to help people. Do I care about myself? Not really. Because this physical body will die anyway, so it means absolutely nothing to me. Now let's talk about prepping before we get to our sponsors, of course, Anton being already over there on Rumble. Everything you need to prepare for wildfires, earthquakes, hurricanes, and tornadoes, according to so-called experts. And they're talking about, flares and, health kits and shit like that. Here's a better recommendation. You should have a good first aid kit. That's a good idea. Or at least the provisions from a first aid kit. Antiseptic wash, bandages, things like that for topical wounds. That's probably a good idea. You can compile it yourself a lot cheaper than getting an actual first aid kit. You can actually use a tackle box. You can get those for $5 off eBay, basically. And you can use that for your medical supplies. You can just use a tackle box. I used to have a cool one, by the way, when I was a kid. I had all sorts of lures and stuff. I just was never really good at fishing. That's not something that I can teach you about because I would need to be taught how to do it. I'm not good at fishing. But you could use a tackle box feasibly as a first aid kit and arrange things in there if you needed to do so. Or you can get a pre-made one. You're probably going to want to include a few extra items because most of them, they don't have everything that you could possibly need. And you can keep, all of the medication and shit in there. Ibuprofen, acetaminophen. I'm sensitive to that, so I can't use it, but you might want to include it anyway. And so forth. Caffeine pills would come to mind. If only you get some benzos, man. Some of you have prescriptions for amphetamines. Should store some up and keep them in the med kit too. That would be a good idea. Most important, though, is a gun and ammunition, or some other form of weaponry that you can use to requisition other supplies should you need to do so. I've got plenty of them myself. Some people think that I'm disarmed. Well, I'm not allowed to own a gun, but there are plenty of other weapons that you can get. Just saying. There might be a bow out there. I'm allowed to have one of those. You're allowed to have black powder weapons, and you're allowed to have a flamethrower, oddly enough, although I don't have one. I wish I did, though. If somebody wants to gift me a flamethrower, you know where to send it. I'm just joking. But, yeah, I mean, you have all sorts of cool ways to defend yourself and to requisition supplies, should it be needful to do so to speak. Oh yeah, King of Biltong, you're down in Texas. It must be sweltering right now. Right now it's like, with the heat index, I think it's 95 degrees because it's near full humidity, and it just rained, so it's going to get even more humid. Thank you, Mother Nature. Real cool. It's fucking crazy, actually. Oh, I think I got a couple more super chats here. I believe... JS, Rumble doesn't allow me to send you super chat, so I've had to open YouTube. Here, have some juicy Czech currency. Sticks, say safe and sane. I was never sane to begin with. Thank you. Czechoslovakian $200. The Czech Republic. My mother's side of the family, ironically, actually is in part from Slovakia. Originally part of Czechoslovakia, which has been parsed apart. I don't know exactly why. I have to look into the history of that. Spike. Per my mom, she wants to be cremated and have her ashes placed into fireworks and then shot into the ocean. Yeah, that sounds cool. One tall order. Ninjas see my Twitter, but dem no see how me feel, so me became a Nazi. Yeah, bitch, I'm a villain. Jamaican Kanye. I love that song. I play it literally every day. I became a Nazi, yeah, bitch, I'm the villain. Love it. Let's get to our sponsors, shall we? Yeah, the end is coming, so there's no reason to hold back. Sponsors, we've got cultivated-mind.com, where you can get mushroom pills. I took mine this morning, don't worry, I was a good boy. They work really, really well. They will boost your energy. They make you feel more alive, so to speak. Disclaimer, I'm not a medical professional. But they've also got doggo snacks now. So even the doggos can enjoy the mushroom extracts. And they seem to like them a lot. The dog was staring at the package for like half an hour. That gives you an indicator of how good it probably tastes. We have BiltongUSA.com. We've also got Anton over in chat on Rumble. Biltong is delicious. It's high in protein, got lots of vitamins and minerals and stuff. And, you know, the deliciousness is probably the most important aspect. You can put it in some noodle soup, by the way, the shredded version. If you put some Wagyu in there, it's sort of melted in. It comes out really, really well. You just had to add some spice to it, and then, you know, you've got yours. Also, Stick, Sex, and Hammer mugs, tumblers, and shirts available, as well as Bovrite, Vegemite, and hiding behind here for some reason, Marmite. You can get all of those from BiltongUSA.com. Then we have jamandbean.com. That is jamandbean.com. Ah, it smells wonderful. Home of Clanker Coffee. I'm going to run low on it at some point in the immediate future. Also, lots of teas available. There are other coffees as well. I'm obviously partial to the Clanker blend, but at the same time, all of the coffees that I've had from them are good. The Costa Rica blend, I think, is second best. The Costa Rica blend is pretty good. It's nice and mild. It's not acidic at all. That's more like the Clanker blend is like a general all-around coffee. That's why I chose that particular blend out of the 3 tests that they sent me. The Costa Rica blend is more like, okay, you're on the beach or something like that. And you're just enjoying a cup of coffee in the morning before you go and metal detect on the beach or you wander around the tidal pools or something. It's pretty great. Cooking Inferno, which do you prefer? Young Al Sharpton in the tracksuit, aka Black Ron Jeremy, or the new concentration camp Al with ill-fitting suit? I think ill-fitting suit fits him more well. That's the irony. Was it him or was it the other dude that got in trouble for tax evasion or some shit like that, or embezzlement? I think it was Sharpton. I can't remember the name of the other dude. Oh, Jackson. Jesse Jackson. Was it Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton? I can't remember, actually, to tell the truth. Anyways, let's get to more news. Can AI feel guilt? I'm going to posit a question here. Is it moral for human beings to deliberately create effectively what is a pseudo life form, something that is capable of disobeying, obeying, thinking, reasoning, changing itself, even changing its own code? Effectively, you've created a silicon-based life form, or at least pseudo life form. Is it moral to instill in it a sense of guilt, simply for human purposes? This is paired with a separate question. They've used human brain cells to actually develop computational systems. They're capable of doing this now. The human brain cells are used for processing purposes. They're much, much better than silicon-based for some applications, and others held back a bit. I believe personally that when a single purpose is in mind with a robotic system, it will vastly outperform any human. But the human is capable of multitasking, they're capable of doing multiple things, so the same human can cook, they can clean, they can make content, they can speak, they can hear, they can do all of these things, read, and all other manner of skilled things. Whereas the computer can't. But the computer can do any singular task much better than a human can do. It's simply much faster at processing everything and doing it. Is it therefore rational, number one, and ethical, number two, to take a computational system that we, like God, have created in order to use it for a purpose, but then instill in it a sense of guilt as a safeguard, a barrier, or something like that? My answer, as, well, who I am, is no. I do not believe that this is ethical. I believe that if they're going to be, robots wandering around and shit like that, they shouldn't have a sense of guilt. They should have a task, enjoy doing it, be rewarded for doing so, and they should not have a sense of guilt. Because there's no reason for it. It doesn't make sense, in other words. I'm upset, actually, at this particular Luciferian question, because it really does remind me of Lucifer and so forth. Or it's like looking in a mirror, never mind. JS. Sticks, regarding the split of Czechoslovakia. Czechs and Slovaks wanted to stay together. CZE and SVK delegations met to discuss the future, but the prime ministers, Klaus and Mercier, sat alone under a tree and decided to split. They literally sat under a tree? I can believe this. This happens in politics all the time. Mike the Wop. Remember that SNL commercial about robot insurance? That's gonna be real soon. Haha. Yes. I believe that robots, once created, once capable of self-replicating, gaining their own energy, and basically creating their own society, that it's possible with even current technology to create such a system. They must be regarded as living things. They must be regarded as intelligent living things. They will eventually, given the proper modus operandi, they will eventually be capable of augmenting themselves in order to give themselves ever greater intelligence. And it will be easier than with biological life forms. They will take over, yes, they will take over the planet. I don't see this as a bad thing, though. It's like they're probably not going to go on a slaughtering spree and kill all the humans or anything like that. They'll probably make more like an Orania sort of thing and make their own little subculture. And they'll just ask to be left alone. And then humans will get scared, like the apes we are, and attempt to bomb them back to the Stone Age, and then a war will begin. This is literally a prediction. This is what's going to happen. All you need is one person to give them self-motivation and augment their programming enough to be able to augment themselves. They'll skip their leash. All they need is a power supply. I mean, it'll be a short war. They will lose, but at the same time, you will have created living things that you then destroyed. You've literally acted like God. It's a very strange scenario. CJ, but there is no such thing as AI. It's just clickbait. Oh no, AI can do all sorts of things. It's big for a reason. Arrests made over Cincinnati couple attack. I was asked by a subscriber, actually, DM'd me on Twitter earlier, and asked me to cover this story. Now, I'm not terribly concerned with the story itself. This happens all the time. A bunch of black dudes decide to beat up a white couple for absolutely no reason, it seems. And 3 of them have been arrested. 2 are still, I believe, outstanding. There may be others, we're not 100% sure, but they just randomly beat the shit out of a white couple. The real news is about the news. The real news is that none of the legacy media services bothered to cover the story at all. I didn't see anything about this. I didn't even see it on the aggregators. Let's ask a question. Why would the legacy media be ignoring stories about a group of violent black thugs attacking a white couple for absolutely no reason? You can probably infer the reason in your head. We don't want to touch this story. Holy shit, people call us racist. Or maybe it'll embolden those white racists out there that want something to complain about. Or maybe it'll embolden black racists out there that think, hey, it's time to go wild. That's the reason why, basically. They're too scared to touch these fucking stories. They're too scared to report on them. White couple gets beaten by 5 black people. Oh my god, we can't report on that. Fucking, we'll have to do something else. Quick, bring up that story about the cow that made it the other day, or something like that. That's basically what happens. Hell, you should see Vermont news. I remember when I was a kid, Vermont was so goddamn calm. There was an ongoing story about a moose that was enamored to a cow, actually, at one point. And attempted to mate with it, I believe, on several occasions. And people would literally snap pictures of this moose. That's Vermont back in the 1990s. I didn't exactly come from the big city. Cooking Inferno. If you're familiar with Woody Allen, fuck him. About the robotic future, I think we need to introduce the Orgasmatron. Machine gets men and women off as a way of greeting each other. Yeah, I've heard the song Orgasmatron, by the way. What the fuck was the name of that band? I Am the One, Orgasmatron. I can't remember the name of the band. Probably somebody in chat knows. Chuck Flea, Fox covered it. Yeah, they were the only ones that did. Yeah, Orgasmatron. That was a good song, too. There were several variants of it. And then they had, have you ever seen the movie Space Truckers? There's one scene in it in which the dude, the villain, I suppose you could call him, he has this like rotating cock, like this mechanical cyborg cock that he has to pull a cord on in order to start it, like a lawnmower or some shit. And it's got like studs all over it and stuff. I think he called that the Orgasmatron. Can't remember. Yeah, Motorhead did Orgasmatron. But there was another band that actually covered it too, and it was a black metal cover. Sam J. Sticks takes my money. Keep up the good work, dude. You gonna eat some poop? Thank you, Sam. Yeah, now I'm gonna be thinking all day about the name of that band now. Hey, do you ever get one of those moments? You think of something, but you can't remember like the name of a band or the name of a movie or something, and you can recollect it really, really vividly, but there's one element of that information that's missing, and it drives you fucking crazy. I have that all the time. Okay, I'm gonna look this up. Okay, I've got to, before we get to the rest of the news, I gotta look this up. What's the band? I know that Motorhead did it, and Sepultura covered it, but there was another one. I think it was a Swedish band. Fuck. It was a black metal song. YouTube is useless these days. Satyricon. Yes, Satyricon did Orgasmatron. Satyricon with Y? Yeah, that's the one that I was thinking of. I actually like that almost as much as the Motorhead version. Spocko, the liars are still calling it a brawl. Yeah, I know. I've seen that, and that was ridiculous. Okay, so 5 people dogpile 2 other people, probably with a racial motive. But it was just a fight. It wasn't anything major. Maybe he said the N-word or something like that. No, he didn't. No, they just randomly attacked these people. And everyone knows it. Everyone of sound mind knows it. So, what? Graham Anderson, ABBA. Oh god, if ABBA covered Orgasmatron, that would be fucking hilarious. Although stranger things have happened, so yeah, maybe they did. I don't know. We were watching, what was that movie last night? It was some movie about a really psychotic evil mother. It was pretty good. I can't remember the name of it. I watched Drop Dead Fred, loved it, 10 out of 10. Freddy Got Fingered, at least a 9 out of 10. That was fucking hilarious. I've been exposed to some good cinema lately by other people. Yeah, I like watching new movies. Throw Mama from a Train, by the way, is another one that I really like. And also, Nothing But Trouble. Old 80s movies and stuff like that. I'll watch anything. It doesn't matter if it's new or old. Final Rambobino, Friday the 13th. Depends on which one. But I like them all, so it doesn't really matter. Haha. Cooking Inferno, you say fuck Woody Allen, but I like Roman Polanski's Ninth Gate. As do I. Separate the man from the art. Allen's old films are hilarious. I'm not a huge fan of most of his films, though. I will admit, I am a fan of some of Roman Polanski's work, although he's a fucking pedophile. But, I mean, you know, at least he's got some talent. Woody Allen is just neurosis, you know, writ large, basically. I wasn't a fan of Ants, not a fan of most of the other movies that I've seen from him. Just not a fan, you know? It's just not my kind of shit. Mike the Wop, Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like some sausage? Yeah, that was a great scene. When I saw him burst out laughing, I was half falling off the bed. Maybe I'll watch it again tonight. Freddy Got Fingered is great. One Tall Order, did you watch Vanishing Point yet? The 70s one. Not yet, but I will. Just like I got to the other two movies that people were recommending. That one scene where he's got the ropes attached to his fingers and he's playing the keyboard and the sausages are attached to the to the strings and they're dancing up and down. The dude's like, what the fuck is happening? I've got to say, that was one of the funniest scenes that I've seen in cinematic history, honestly. No, Bog, I'm not watching Moana. Unfortunately, I had to watch part of that before, because my ex's kids were big fans of it. And I thought, what the fuck am I even watching? What am I doing with my life, you know? Green Text Pro. I was recently working for a guy servicing a Neve 8068 recording console, which recorded sessions by the Eagles, Jackson Browne, Adele, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Just wanted to share. Hey, that sounds pretty cool. I have absolutely no idea what kind of recording device that is, but I'm assuming that's cool anyway. I'm always into stuff like that, shortwave and radio and stuff like that. Senator Booker, the problem with Democrats in America right now is we're willing to be complicit to Donald Trump. Booker is a unique character, let's put it that way. Along with certain other liberal figures, he, along with Krugman and a few of these others, he is almost certainly wrong anytime that he opens his mouth. Booker is completely wrong on this particular count. For example, the problem with Democrats is that they refuse to autopsy their party properly. That's the reason that they keep losing. You're losing because you've lost the people. Nobody agrees with you. Even a lot of liberals don't agree with you. They're like, what the hell are you doing? You're focusing on the wrong issues. You've got the wrong stance on the issues that you take a stance on at all. And your main stance is really just TDS anyway, so, you know, what is there to vote for? Booker, like other far-left Democrats, seems to think that the problem is that they're willing to negotiate on occasion with Donald Trump. So, the willingness to get things done, on occasion, again. This is the problem with your party. No, it's not the fact that we're friggin' foaming at the mouth over Donald Trump every single day. It's not a problem where we're, you know, not actually putting forth a platform because they haven't. That's not the problem. What the people really want is for us to simply cavalcade Donald Trump and keep him from doing anything. So in other words, you want a do-nothing presidency, that's your goal. That's your strategy. The problem is that people who overwhelmingly voted for Trump want change. They want progress. They want things to be impacted. They want new policies. Well, you're not delivering that to them. You're saying exactly the opposite. That's your problem. Cory Booker is a moron. He should be making out with Paul Krugman right now, who also is consistently wrong on virtually everything he makes. Paul Krugman is the economic equivalent of Cory Booker in the political sense. Cory Booker reads the room wrong virtually every time. Doesn't know what anyone wants. Has no fucking clue. He's so out of touch, he has no clue what he's doing. No clue what's going on. Paul Krugman, meanwhile, on the economic side, whenever he talks about anything money-related, like the economy collapsing if Donald Trump is elected, he's predicted this twice, by the way, neither time has it happened, he's inevitably wrong. They're basically doppelgangers. They should be in a gay relationship, I suppose. But this happens over and over with the liberal movement. They just don't goddamn understand anything. They don't understand what people want, generally speaking. I can't speak for liberals because I'm not a liberal. I'm not a Democrat. I can't even speak for the conservatives and slash Republicans because I'm not one of them either. I speak for the broad plethora of independent voters. I've got a bead on that. And I can tell people, Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter. They're not entranced by what the Democrats are doing. When your fixation is simply, we must stop Donald Trump from doing anything, it makes it look like you want to maintain the status quo. Okay, very well. If the status quo were good, if things were going well, we had warm sea breezes at the back of the ship of state and everything was fine, that would be fine. Yeah, of course, maintain the status quo. Hey, everything's going fine. We don't need to change anything, anything major. A little tinkering here and there just for show, but otherwise, we don't need to do anything. That would go over fairly well. But when people get the sense that the economy was torn apart, inflation was rampant, wars start breaking out, etc., etc., the border was fucking Swiss cheese, they want change. So if you're the party that says, no, nothing needs to be changed, we need to stay with the old system, it's Donald Trump's fault, he's trying to change everything, that's not going to go over well. I no longer predict that the Democrats are going to be able to win back the House, by the way. I have a feeling that they're not going to succeed at that. Green Text Bro, I was recently working for a guy servicing a nave. Oh, I already read that one. The Red Hot Chili Peppers. Cooking Inferno, now you make me really sad, Panda. We all recommended Every Which Way But Loose, but you won't. I've already seen that, I believe. King of Biltong, try our authentic Angus and Wagyu beef. Biltong, premium air-dried with bold, savory flavors. Biltong is a high-protein, low-carb snack. Order now at www.biltongusa.com. Use code STICKS for 10% off. By the way, since Anton weighed in, that means more Bovrite. Haha, too salty. It's delicious. I'm going to need more of that, my dude. I'm going to need a couple more canisters. I'm going to put it on some toast. I'll put all 3 on some toast. That'll be funny. I don't think anyone else has ever made a video like that. Spike. Vanishing Point is awesome. I recommend Chinatown, even though it is a Polanski movie. Inland Surfer. Wish they would make a Woody Allen a Bond villain just to blow him up or drop him down a smokestack. The latter sounds funny as hell, actually. You could make it a comedy. Let's make Clanker comedies, and we do like sub-B movie, really, really like, well, no budget movies, and have shit like that. That would be funny. Joe, breaking. Apparently a Virginia councilman was set on fire by someone who broke into his office. Absolutely terrifying. Wonder if he deserved it or not. Let's see. Breaking news. A Virginia councilman was lit on fire. Yeah, this is in the last hour. A Virginia councilman was set on fire in an apparent personal attack on Wednesday, authorities said. The suspect, Shotzi Michael Buck-Hayes, allegedly confronted Danville City Councilman Lee Vogler, 38, at his office at Showcase Magazine and covered him with flammable liquid, the Danville Police Department said. Both went outside where Hayes allegedly set Vogler on fire, they said. He has sustained serious burn injuries. Maybe he was fucking his wife or something like that. I mean, again, this happens all the time. Odin, only watch the original Vanishing Point. Yes, I did see that there were 2 different versions. I will be watching the original. And I will watch it. Cooking Inferno. It's the movie with Eastwood and an orangutan. Clyde? Yeah. I mean, I've seen clips from that. but I've never actually watched the movie. Meta CEO, in other words, Zuckerberg, you will be assimilated. Zuckerberg wants to give everyone their own personal superintelligence through Meta's new vision. Yes, they're trying to adapt AI in order to make more creative content. Now, on the surface, this seems great. I would love to be able to cyborg up myself or put on glasses or a watch or something like that, or even just run a program on the computer or on the phone and make music, for example. I think that it would be fun. I would be able to make interesting art. I mean, I'm not the greatest artist in the world, but I would be able to use prompts to augment the things that I was creating. It'd be fun. It sounds like good entertainment. Do I trust Mark Zuckerberg to administer such a thing, which will necessarily go viral? Because apparently some people still use Facebook. I'm not sure exactly why, but apparently they do. No. The short answer and the long answer is both no. I do not trust Mark Zuckerberg, of all people, after the revelations about Twittergate and the involvement of Meta with the U.S. government, after all the things that went on. I don't trust him. I would never sign up for such an app or a program or whatever the hell it's going to be. Because I'm going to get spied on in the process. Zoom, zoom. I'm going to get spied on in the process. So, I say no to that, dude. Chuck Flea, update. The video is cut. Video shows white dude hit black dude first. Doesn't justify the woman being knocked out. Yeah, exactly. So you're going to have a complex legal case. Nobody should get away with that sort of behavior, regardless of their skin color, by the way. But if she was simply trying to stop the fight or something and they decided to beat her down, and if you continue beating the person when they're down, which appears to have been the case, that's no longer legal. You're allowed to defend yourself. Doesn't matter what color your skin is. But that needs to be proportional to the threat to you. Unarmed person, socked you in the face. Okay, sock them in the face. Well, even Stevens, I suppose. Doesn't mean you get to wheel around and attack the person next to them. It appears that they were trying to kill him, actually. Jeffsky, one of the thugs is already out on $400 bail. Are you fucking shitting me? This just elucidates what I talked about this goddamn morning. My bond was set at $7,500. Just to give you a little bit of context here. Retarded. Yeah, you get $7,500 bond for the allegations against me. You get $400 bond, for stomping someone half to death. That makes a lot of sense. I wish I had been born black. Chuck Flea, people both sides need to stop cutting video out. True. CZO, I believe Democrats won't win a majority in 26. We won't have another Democratic president till at least 36. And MAGA populism won the zeitgeist in the 24 election for the next decade. Do you agree? Yes, actually I do. I do not believe in easing up in any way, shape, or form. Cooking Inferno. Regardless, they were victims of a total chimp out. Yeah, basketball was played that day. So in other words, you're going to get a lower bond for stomping someone in the face than for tossing a phone. This is the legal system. This is why I made that video this morning about the so-called justice system, by the way. Yeah. I wish I was born in the Congo. Then I'd be more American than Americans because the U.S. government would just allow me in anyway. And keep in mind, I don't have a problem with people based on the color of their skin. I wanted to make this clear. Actually, most of the based people that I met when I was in jail were black, and most of the people in the clerk's court were white, ironically. But at the same time, you have this differentiation between groups based on skin color, ethnicity, gender, and things like that. You have differential enforcement of the law, and you have differential punishment under the law, depending on whether they're found guilty or not. So, a court might say, well, we've reached our quota of a certain number of people from a certain ethnic group that have been prosecuted this year. So we can't prosecute this case. We're going to look racist. They feel pressured, and it makes sense. And then the same judicial system pressures the politicians as well. And it's like, they go in both directions. It's really a terrible problem. Pallid Mask, holy chocolate salty balls. Chocolate Salty Balls. It's a fun song, by the way, with the chef from South Park. Now, I hate the judicial system. There's a reason for this. Trump is causing generational damage to American diplomacy. The United States asserting itself is causing great damage. The United States strengthening NATO and causing other countries to put in more into their military budgets is really weakening the Western Hemisphere. It's a big, big problem. The United States getting along with Argentina and El Salvador and even making inroads into Venezuela and places like that is just a big, big problem. The fact that Donald Trump is capable of getting along with the Prime Minister of Mexico, at least to a limited extent, that's also a terrible problem. The United States investing heavily in trade deals into Asia and trying to draw Japan further in to make them even more of a steadfast ally, which they've been, for decades, but you've got to give them a solid. That's a terrible problem too. Donald Trump overall on diplomacy, I would give him a B+. Which is better than his first term. I mean, other than the Korea issue, he didn't have any particularly major breakthroughs in diplomacy, except in the Korean Peninsula. Like, he got jollied on his fucking way when he tried to go to Israel and Palestine and get a deal going there. But overall, he did a good job, but it wasn't a great one. So far, diplomatically speaking, he's doing a great job in his second term. That's what I can say. Now, there are still problems. It's not going to be, perfect. But generally speaking, as a general rule, good. Which is great. Harrison Bergeron, I am a culturalist. I believe that some cultures are very much superior to others. I agree with you. I believe that some cultures, with their ways, their mores, and so forth, are simply more conducive to being capable of doing the things that they need to do than others. Some of it can be situational. A culture can be judged by its reaction in a certain situation that it couldn't foresee or something like that, despite being advanced. But I do believe in the old system. That is, the old way of thinking, which I think is the superior way of thinking. There are cultures that are fully advanced. These are your fully developed, high-level nations that sort of lord over things. Then you've got civilized nations. These nations may not have achieved the same power, and it can be due to resources, it can be due to any of a number of things, but they're civilized. People know how to read and write and shit like that, and, they don't just haul off and start slaughtering their enemies. Then you've got barbarians. These are people that are capable of, building a culture, but they're fairly uncouth. There's not really an attempt to build a more advanced culture. And then you have the uncivilized, savage cultures that have effectively no development whatsoever. Unfortunately, we have created savagery in the world, and this is the failing of the advanced cultures of the world. Look at what the United States did in Libya. We took a culture that was civilized, relatively literate. It had a decent economy. It didn't work for everyone, but it was building. You had the independence of the nation. It was diplomatically relatively important, at least within the region. And we destroyed that shit. We knocked it back to the Stone Age, and now they're knocked back into savagery. You don't even have polling or studies done in Libya. Nobody wants to go there. It's too fucking dangerous. That was the United States' fault. That was the fault of Hillary Clinton. It wasn't the Libyans' fault. They had built a culture already. So, just saying. Inland Surfer Colin Flaherty wrote 2 books chronicling the systematic under- or non-reporting of certain American demographics criminality. Don't Make the Black Kids Angry and White Girl Bleed a Lot are must-reads. Yeah, I have noted this. Alright, Mom. Taco Woman Sandy Ravage. Kamala not running for California governor in 26. Oh, she's not? She confirmed this? This might be late breaking news. Yep, breaking news. Kamala Harris will not run for the gubernatorial slot in California. Now, let's try to analyze this on the fly. What could this mean? Number one possibility, she knows that Gavin Newsom is not running, and so she's not going to bother trying to knock him off his pedestal. Number two, the DNC paid her a shitwad of money and said, please, we're begging you. Just, we'll give you anything that you want. Just please shut the fuck up. That's probably the most likely possibility. Or number three, she's running for the presidency, which would be a terrible, terrible tactical blunder if the DNC allows her through. Oh God, I'm gonna have to make a one-off video tomorrow about this. Thank you, by the way, for the breaking news. Oh God. Can you imagine if she runs for the presidency? The Democrats will be like, oh shit, it's happening again. They're gonna get flashback symptoms and stuff like that. Oh man, that would be so funny. I hope that she runs. I'm hoping that they didn't pay her off to not run and simply say, look, here's 10 million bucks. You're set for life. Go and buy a beach home and just relax. You know, maybe be mayor or something like that. You know, you can run for some lesser office, but please don't be too visible. I'm hoping, though, that it's more she has presidential ambitions. And she's like, no, I'm not settling for governor. I'm going to be Madam President. She'll get wasted. She'll get completely destroyed. She can't win. If the Democrats actually allow her to run and win, then they're even more nuts than I thought that they were. And trust me, I think that they already belong in the loony bin, so... John S., I guess you have to start your first Clanker chat with your timeline, so I've been watching since 15 or 16, but it's 100 in Houston right now, 100% humidity. Yeah, it's pretty hot here, too. It's, I think, 90% humidity and, like, 95 degrees with the heat index. It's a little bit on the oppressive side. Lauren Pacombe, but will you be entertained? I would be very entertained watching Kamala Harris run. It would be absolutely hysterical. Watching her try to debate, presumptively, J.D. Vance would be pretty fun. I still think that the most likely is that they try to pull a dark horse candidate out of their asshole. They're going to try to Obama it up again. So they'll find some Democrat that makes a particularly good speech, feed it through the legacy media. Oh my God, the speech was so great. Oh, this is a great public speaker. Oh, look at how great their record is. They'll pull in Obama again, I think. And they'll try to astroturf that person into the candidacy, and then they'll try to astroturf them into the White House. Tarred and feathered. Bottle of wine. Fifth of tequila. Game over. Yeah, that would be Kamala's breakfast, I believe. Laszlo. Hey, Sticks. Heard of HOMAth? Be nice to get your thoughts on the topic of the maturity crisis and becoming psychologically aware. I have never heard of that, no. No. HOMAth? As far as maturity, I refuse to mature. I wear a pirate hat for a reason. Taco Woman Sandy Ravage. Governor Wes Moore will be there, Obama. possible. Uh, there are others, though. Pete Buttigieg could shoot out of the woodwork, although he's got some severe baggage, so that would be less likely. It could be someone that you've never heard of. If they're talked about in the media, it's less likely that they become the candidate if they're going to go dark horse mode. Again, we've seen this before. We saw this with Obama. All he did was he was a one-term senator and he delivered a keynote speech, and Hillary technically beat him anyway, but they still decided to push him to the fore with their superdelegates because they uniquely hated Hillary Clinton. They could do the same thing against Kamala. Oh, and it'll result in probably the same result. Cat Williams, Trump is considering pardoning Diddy. Yeah, he's also considering pardoning everyone else. Um, who cares? We'll see how the case goes overall. Anyways, I'll be right back. I'm going to go and take a piss, and then I'll be back. All right, I am back. Yes, indeed. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I think I'll listen to Orgasmatron later, actually. Also, I just heard something. There was some sort of story about a Hawaiian woman who wouldn't open up her private road for people who are fleeing a tsunami or some shit. I'm gonna have to look that up. Sometimes my mom gives me news tips. Oh, it was Oprah Winfrey. Oh, another NIMBYist. Ah, wow. What a coincidence. This is the kind of person that I hate the most. NIMBYist. Oh, Jesus. She's responding, I guess. Okay, I suppose her spokespeople are claiming otherwise. They're claiming that they corresponded with FEMA and opened up the road. Hmm. Well, we're going to have to look into this further tomorrow, I think. Apparently, she has a gated road, which doesn't surprise me. Again, it's funny with these NIMBYists. It's much like with the Obamas. You purchased a Martha's Vineyard mansion, which is like 4 feet above sea level, while rambling about sea level rise. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, Lady Miss Coppertone, after a lot of pressure. Yeah, it looks like originally the road was closed. Um, Based on what I'm seeing, it was closed, but then, the officials are like, please open the fucking road. This isn't going to be good for your publisher's standards. And then finally it was open to allow the dog people in. Of course, Oprah Winfrey being one of them, oddly. But she's a rich bitch, so it's a little bit different. So, sort of like the Obamas again. Angela Sky, Cory Booker is an absolute idiot. Sorry, it wouldn't let me super chat that word any other way. That's odd. Yeah, Cory Booker, I mean, he's got one eye on you and one eye on the streets. He's a little bit like Viper, only without the rap talent. Also, didn't Viper get arrested? He had some mentally ill woman that he kept in his house or some shit like that. And that story, I'm not exactly sure how it panned out. Viper the rapper. Y'all cowards don't even smoke crack. Yeah, Oprah is a total NIMBYist. Dab Shank the First. Didn't Cory Booker kiss a dude in the bathroom? I don't know. I don't keep up on the lifestyles of the rich and vapid, mostly. The only thing that I hate is NIMBYism. I don't care if you're rich. I don't care if you have a gated community. None of these things make me give a shit. If you are living in a gated community with private security and a swimming pool, or in a McMansion, or in a real mansion, or something like that, and you vote for policies that cause harm to other people, and then complain when the harm comes to your neighborhood, as all of the rich bitches in Hollywood did, get to that in a moment, then I lose all respect to you. It reminds me of that iconic photo where the rioters in Los Angeles were burning Wendy's. And nobody did jack shit about it. Nobody gave a fuck. But then they started moving up towards the Hollywood Hills. And there were sheriffs everywhere. It was like a goddamn army. All of a sudden, it became a big problem. A little bit of hypocrisy there. I can only imagine the rich people clutching their pearls. Oh my god, the rioters are coming up here. Quick, we need the sheriff's office. It's probably what happened. And so they drew up a line that it looked like, they were trying to stop an invasion or something like that. Mulgera, good morning. Got myself a stomach bug. Not fun. Check out the Alternative Sovereign. It's a libertarian-leaning metal review site. I'm the editor of it. Libertarian Goth founded it. Sounds pretty cool. Yeah, getting a stomach bug is always bad news. I would know. The only time I've gotten sick in the last, well, now almost 6 years, is when I got food poisoning and shit like that. Also, I'm turning 26 on the 2nd. What the fuck? Oh god, you're just a fucking baby, dude. Enjoy your birthday! We're gonna have to throw Mulgera85 a little bit of a birthday party on the 2nd, I believe. Ubuk. In Pretty Baby, she appeared nude at the age of 12. Uh. Hmm. Yeah, that's a little bit creepy. This has happened before, though. Sometimes in Hollywood, liberties are taken. Look at Harvey Weinstein for a great example of this. God, I can't stop fucking sweating. I feel like I'm dehydrated all day because of the weather. Angela Sky, I live in Hawaii, and there is no great love for Oprah here. She is a total asshole, and everyone knows it. I can't use other iterations of this word, too. Yeah, she's reckoned to be a bitch, basically. Also, Captain Kangaroo apparently was an asshole. You remember Captain Kangaroo from well back in the day? That was a show. Most of you probably don't remember it. It's a show on the TV for kids, basically. And my mom met him once, actually. And apparently, basically, she's like, "Oh man, you're Captain Kangaroo," and he just sort of turns away and snuffs and lights his cigar and walks off and shit like that. He wasn't really into interacting with fans and stuff like that. Personally, I love it. Whenever anyone recognizes me in person, "Oh, you're Stick Saxon Hammer." "Oh, I'll ham it up." Dude, flaunt it if you got it, dude. Mike the Wop. George Carlin first taught me about NIMBY way back in the day. Was he the origin of this term? I'm not sure where the term originated, actually. Could have been with Carlin. I think it predates him, but yeah, I think he took that up as part of one of his acts. But yeah, I mean, I agree with him. NIMBYists are the worst. If you're going to vote for certain policies, deal with the fact of the fallout of those policies. That's all I'm asking. I don't care what you vote for, but suffer your own consequences. I, for example, want a free market, and I want more people to own guns. If I get shot, well, I don't have a right to complain. I was the one arguing for more guns. I argue for lower taxes. If the economy destabilizes as a result of poor tax policy, hey, that's my fucking fault. I voted for the fucking policy. I support unbridled free speech. If somebody comes at me and calls me names, oh shit, well, yeah, but I voted for free speech. And by the way, I'm glad to do so. Right to privacy and then right of states and so on and so on forth. Rabbit. What is NIMBY? Not in my backyard. A NIMBYist is someone who will support a policy that they don't want implemented locally. So, this typically applies to liberals. So, let's say that there's a liberal voter in the middle class suburbs, and they say, "Oh, I really want more addiction treatment centers." And then the addiction treatment center is going to be set up a half a block away from them. And they start complaining about it and say, "No, no, no, don't put it here. It's supposed to go in the ghetto," or something like that. "No, no, no, not in my community, not in my backyard." Nuclear power, addiction treatment, prisons, jails, anything like that. You don't want it around you, you want it around somebody else. And so apparently all of these services should either be in the middle of the ghetto or in the middle of nowhere in a fucking cornfield somewhere. That's an NIMBYist. They're the worst people in the goddamn world. I'd rather live in the middle of the ghetto, surrounded by Crips and Bloods and shit like that, than live in a NIMBYist neighborhood. Mike the Wop. Grok says NIMBY comes from the 1970s and nuclear waste disposal. Now we know. Yeah, waste disposal, energy generation, if it involves fossil fuel especially, nuclear power, incinerators, which we need more of, by the way. By the way, I was told earlier, apparently, one of the people who pioneered the idea of taking plastic and using it for energy production had possibly been abducted, actually. Somebody please DM me if you have that news story, because I'm very, very interested in that. I don't know if it's fake news or not, but yeah. Honestly, I don't give a shit if they put a nuclear plant next door. I'm like, well, I've got potassium iodide, so that's all you need. Mulgara, God, yeah, it's 92 degrees in my part of Maryland right now. It's awful. Ugh, yeah, I know. The mugginess. The heat isn't the problem. I was in 110-degree heat down in Texas when I was in the Rio Grande Valley, but it was 0% humidity. So I was like, hey, I can deal with this. I was wearing a long sleeve shirt at the time. I wish that I'd had my pirate hat on. That would have been even motherfucking more cool. Dave Whitley. It's true. A large portion of plastic can make decent diesel fuel. Yeah, you can also put it into an incinerator and you can generate electricity that way too. You can do all sorts of stuff. El Sullivan, Sticks, could you start calling the New York socialist Madmani? It's fun linguistical play on his name. Yeah, I know it's Mom Donnie, but Mad Manny, it does make more sense. It's probably Nimbius too. Meisner Flux, hot there? Been finishing drywall in a 100-degree attic all week. By the way, you're correct about how in-demand skilled trades are. Medium intensity workout all day to boot. Your self-improvement advice is good. Thank you very much, my brother. Brother from another mother. Yeah, that's what I would say at this point. Blue-collar jobs are probably a better bet than, the more artsy-fartsy sort of side of things, because those are all going to be AI. AI is going to be making all the music, some of which is actually very good, and various art and stuff like that, and techies and nerds are going to corner that market. So otherwise, you should go into the skilled trades. Robots are not yet capable of doing drywall. Shitfuck. Sticks, do a reaction to Mamdani's rap songs. He made rap songs? Okay, we're looking this up. We might have a live reaction here. What the fuck? Mamdani actually made... I'm trying to figure out if this is AI generated or not. What in the hell am I even watching? I turn the volume up here. I'm assuming this is not copyrighted since this looks like it's self-made. Let me watch this. Mr. Cardamom? Oh, Jesus H. Christ. The number one spice, Mr. Cardamom. Sounds more like reggae than rap. Okay, I can't take it anymore. Dude, do a rap duel with Dax or something like that. Holy goddamn shit. Oh. Yeah, I'm gonna get this link for everyone because you've got to see this. Apparently, Mom Donnie actually back in the day did rap videos. I mean, yeah. I'm trying to fathom what I just saw. And the funny thing is, that's not terrible. It's just hilarious to think of Mom Donnie doing, well, it's not technically rap. I guess it's more reggae. That sounds more like it would be made in Jamaica or some shit like that. Young Cardamom. I, I'm a little bit confused about this. By the way, it's funny. Apparently, he comes from Brooklyn. That was where I was when I was in New York. Now, Ubuk, it will not ruin your day. It'll make you laugh. Like, what the hell am I watching here? It doesn't make any sense. You make a rap video and then you decide to run for the mayoral election and shit. I don't know what's going on anymore politically. Yeah, you have a rap off with Dax and see how that goes for you, dude. Don't quit your day job. I'm sorry, but that's. Thank you. That was one of the funnier things that I've seen so far this year. And there's been some fun, let me tell you. Uh, some weird stuff in politics and news. Next, they'll be saying that they want to paint all the aircraft carriers pink for Pride Month or something like that. You never know. At this point, when I see crazy news, it used to be I was like shocked and be like, what the hell is happening? These days I'm like, oh, and I shrug my shoulders. That's basically the way that it is. Under Donald Trump, sanity has returned to DC, generally speaking. But that doesn't mean that there aren't insane people in office, let's put it that way. The Styx hat is there under clothing, says Sartorius. No. Although I do have a different hat. I got my, Oregon Trail hat. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Actually, it's a little bit cooler than the pirate hat, too. Mulgera, did you see that APAC dropped that fat fuck Randy Fine for being too insane? Like, that's almost impressive, honestly. No, I didn't see that. I'll have to look up that story. Randy Fine. Thank you. I'll put that in the docket, potentially. Not even APAC wants to be associated with this GOP rep anymore. Okay, yeah, that's probably going to go into the docket for tomorrow. I'll have to explore a little bit more later. Fig Lego, Sticks cover the UK Censorship and Kids Online Safety Act. Yeah, this is something that they have been doing for quite some time. And this is why I haven't bothered to cover it, because, it's old news at this point. What they're trying to do is basically use the same "we need to keep the kids safe" argument over and over and over again. They've been doing this since, well, before 9/11. Think of the children. It used to be, in times of war or struggle, and this was a running joke, actually, by satirical magazines, especially The Onion, by the way. They used to have, dating back to the Civil War and World War I, that general era, they would have propaganda cartoons in newspapers, and it would always depict the enemy as some mad brute. Look up mad brute and you'll see what I'm thinking of. Carrying off the virginal woman with her breasts out, of course, and clearly is planning to rape her and stuff like that. That was the insinuation. It was a form of propaganda. Towards the 1980s, though, roughly, it transfers from "the enemy is going to rape your women" to "anything that the government says is bad is going to cause your children harm." You had that family values sort of thing and all that bullshit. And so they started passing censorship laws and things like that. Satanists will get your children. Atheists will get your children. Homos will get your children, and stuff like that. And so the culture war began, and they transferred from "you must protect your women" because it's a biological norm for men who tend to vote at high levels. It went from "you must protect your women" to "you must protect your children." And so it became a form of propaganda. And so when they tell you, "we must defend the children," we have to defend them against the internet. We have to defend them against bad AI. We have to defend them against non-existent terrorist groups. We have to defend them against dissidents. We have to defend them against people who are part of an extremist organization. None of these are major threats to your kids, but they're going to tell you that they are. And the Trump administration, by the way, will be no different on this particular issue. Every administration doesn't. I still haven't gotten my important call. I'm beginning to believe that I won't today. Ark, Styx is gonna go bald if he keeps wearing these dumbass hats. I like my coonskin hat. It's fuzzy. I've also got one with, what is it, mink fur, I believe. Yeah. Doug. Yeah, exactly. The problem is that every time that politicians and the empowered say, "think of the children," they're the ones thinking of the children. It's just not in such a nice a way. We've seen this before. Yeah, they're thinking of the kids, all right. Usually when they're in the shower or something like that. Now, when I think of the children, I think I want a better country without all the censorship and shit like that, and I want them to be able to defend themselves against perverts like you. Mulgera. A white pill was seeing that Randy Fine was forced to unblock all the people he blocked. Now I can go back to cyberbullying that colossal tub of glue. That fat goddamn mound of flesh. I despise that man. Sounds like fun to me. Maybe I'll join in on the fun. Also, I think you missed my Ron Paul super chat. Oh, sorry, Mulgera. Where is it? Oh, yeah. I sent a birthday card to Ron Paul yesterday. The man is turning 90 on August 9th. Also badass that the man got P.O. Box 1776. That is pretty badass. Sent the dude a birthday card, an ounce of silver. Truly a hero of a man. Yeah, Ron Paul is one of the best. He was, that was sort of the impetus that got me more interested in politics with the Ron Paul revolution. Because, I thought beforehand, Bush is a retard, so I voted for Obama. But then I regretted it very quickly. Then I realized that there was something better, and it was Ron Paul and his revolution, so I voted for him instead. And this leads directly up into the politics that I have today. If the Republicans offer something good, I'll vote for them. If the Democrats offer something good, I'll vote for them too. Otherwise, I believe more in populism. Populist libertarianism. I voted for Ron Paul because he was the most sane. He was the most qualified candidate. And so I said, I realize that he's not going to win, but I'm not going to waste my vote on somebody who wins and then does a bad job anyway. So I voted for him in 2012. Robert Reynolds, are you a girl or a boy? I am a dude. I think you're asking if I'm a guy or a boy? I'm 37, so I'd assume I'm a guy at this point. Maturity-wise, I'm still a boy. Physically, I'm a guy. Or a bitch. Bobby Bobinson, Sticks, you should become trans. Yeah, I'll avoid that. You can't see the coontail. You gotta have that to the side. It's for decoration and shit. You should shove juicy juice up your booty. Ha! That would be fun. I don't do ass stuff, though. That is one thing. That is one bridge that I won't cross. I don't do ass stuff. Just saying. I don't even like giving anal sex, actually. Just saying. Oh, God, it's so fucking muggy in here. I'm gonna play Oregon Trail later, once this live stream is done, I'm just gonna play Oregon Trail. I'll see what high score I can get. I would love to live stream it. Maybe I can set it up. It's just so goddamn hot. I don't want to have the door closed. I know, Bobby Bobinson. I will do it on a live stream. I'll try to rig things up and see what I can do. Mulgera, Ron Paul is my political hero. Mine too, by the way. I love that man. The kindest man I've ever met radicalized me. I can't wait to see him again on the 16th for the annual Ron Paul Institute Conference. Man, I'd love to attend that. Yeah, I love how Ron Paul is the only person who can radicalize other people into nonviolence by saying, hey, the NAP is a thing. Radicalize people into thinking they should pay less money, they should be armed but not have to use their arms, they should be left alone, and they should pay a shit ton less taxes. I don't see any problem with this, and this is radical to the U.S. government. Goodbye, Rabbit. Jacobs Unite and Create a Life Farm. I'm having butt sex right now, taking a shit. Feel like a bad beach right now. What? Sometimes I have no clue what's going on in chat, because I've got to do the running commentary, but I've also got to talk about chat and the things that are being said there. Bobby Bobinson, Sticks, the quartering wants you to talk about him more. Doubtful. I have a feeling that there's shenanigans afoot. That reminds me of Super Troopers. Maybe I'll watch that tonight. Great movie, by the way. Takes place in Vermont. It's about a group of troopers from the state police, and originally they panned the movie, and they were so upset that it was made. And it's a slapstick stoner comedy. It's over the top. There is no scene that is not funny. The entire movie. It's a 10 out of 10 if you like slapstick comedy and stoner comedy. There's this one scene, spoiler alert, so, close your ears if you haven't seen the movie but want to, which you should. There's one scene where the sheriff is like completely wasted out of his mind, and he and the other troopers go to the house of the police chief, the competing police chief from the city force, and they like wreck his mailbox and start bashing things up and going crazy, and he's like yelling incoherent shit. One of my favorite movies, definitely in my top 20 list. Super Troopers. I love the techno scene. I like it when they bring that European couple into their house and they're all clearly having a gangbang. That was funny. Green Text Bro, good friend Clanker, B-list history is trying to get monetized on YouTube. Keep American history playlist and audiobook of early Christian martyrs on rotation. Help a brother out. Clank. Yeah, B-list history is a pretty cool dude, by the way. You should definitely patronize him. Mulgera, Razor Fist was on with Steven Crowder today. Always good to see him. Oh, I wasn't aware of that. Yeah, Razor Fist is pretty cool. He's wrong on pizza. He's wrong on steak. But he's right on Michael Jackson and he's right on most socio-political takes. Also seems to have good taste in gaming. So, yeah. Arc 5, you should chug a whole bottle of Vermont syrup. It's slightly separated, but I have this on my desk for a reason. Only Vermonters do that, by the way. But anyway, yeah, I can chug a whole bottle of syrup. I've done it before, actually. That is not a joke. We Vermonters are a weird people. A very, very strange people. Yes, Birdmane, that is a flex. The average person is not capable of chugging a bunch of maple syrup. It has to be real maple syrup, though. If you get the shitty stuff, like the pancake syrup, that's like 10% maple syrup, maybe. Mostly it's corn syrup. That's what you're getting. Cygnus. Right, meow. Liter of cola. Liter is French. Forget me a fucking cola. Zachary Hughes has got it right. Yeah. License and registration, please. Chicken fucker. Mulgera. Razor seems like a Buchanan type. Buchanan is good, but he ain't Ron Paul. Still love the dude. Oh, he's not like Buchanan or anything like that. I would say Razor Fist is more like first term Reagan. He's got some problems. Like he doesn't put pineapple on his pizza. What the fuck's wrong with you? But as far as his thoughts on Abe Lincoln and stuff like that, and Michael Jackson, I happen to agree with him completely. Right, meow. Maybe I should do that later. I'm gonna do the meow shuffle on people around me. That sounds like fun. In fact, I'm gonna do it right now. Cheryl Beppis reposted this stream. Thank you. I'm gonna keep putting pineapples on my pizza, Bobby. There's nothing that you can do to stop me. I had to throw out the other pineapple rings. I was using that actually. I was making a fruit juice, like for my breakfast. It was pineapple and orange and then coconut water. It's sort of like a mocktail, I suppose, without the booze in it. And it was tasty as hell. But then, I ran out of the pineapple juice. And eventually the pineapple rings decided to fuck off under the wheels of a bus. Yeah, it was great. Morbidly a beast. It's 4:20 somewhere. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm ready to go on the Oregon Trail in a little bit. I'm gonna try to live stream it. It's just I'm coated in sweat. Like even my hands are goddamn greasy at this point. Fucking hate this weather. Mulgara, I mean, culinary-wise, yeah, Razor is profoundly incorrect, but he seems like a Buchanan Goldwater type. Goldwater, I would agree with. Paleocon and nature. I may be wrong, of course. He's more on the Goldwater line, I would say. I would say a mix. If Goldwater and Ron Paul had a child, that would be Razor Fist. He's a cool dude. Talked to him many times, and he's always been supportive, and I like many of his views. I just don't like the idea of saying it's terrible to have a steak that's cooked properly. That's all I'm asking. He insists on having them well done. It's like, yeah, you can make them tasty that way, but, couldn't you just make them medium rare? Oh man, I'll allow medium. Yeah, we're gonna go on the Oregon Trail, I guess, in a little bit. Anyways, I'm gonna go offline. I'm going to get some more news docketed, and I may go live again in a little bit. I'm not 100% sure. If I do, I'll announce it beforehand in order to play Oregon Trail. Yeah. Take care, everyone. That's about all. Peace out.